And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another recap review of the hit HBO Max show. And just like that, it's your guy Lucas here with my amazingly talented co host, Amaya. How are you doing this evening in New York?
Listen,
As we
it's,
can do where dreams are made
you know what? I was in Virginia this past weekend and they had
of.
karaoke. Karaoke. They had like Name That Tune in Virginia. They were playing that song, and I looked around to see how many people were writing down if they knew who sang that song. Because clearly I did, right?
Oh, look here,
And
look here. Yeah, I'm about
so
to say,
yeah,
and at the part of Virginia you was in, like, yes, that does
you
not
know.
seem like the song that you expect a little Luke Bryant, maybe some Morgan Waller,
And
something a
listen,
little different.
there was some Weezer. There was some Weezer on there, and I was like, okay, I know
Of
this
course,
song. Shout
exactly,
out to Guitar Hero,
exactly, exactly. Diversity amongst Black folks. Don't think we just know hip hop music. Cause you put on some Limp
Absolutely.
Bizkit or something, or
Yeah,
Corn or some Linkin Park, I'm gonna go crazy.
that's a throwback.
But we're talking about episode 10 of And Just Like That, especially after the explosive episode 9, where we saw finally the end of a relationship that so many people have been waiting for. And we start off this episode with Duncan and Carrie as they're just going over Carrie's book. And here is just really Duncan just assuring her just how good of a job she's doing, how amazed he is by her book. Just what do you think about starting this episode off with kind of the issue that Aiden presented of him thinking that Carrie and Duncan were more than what they are. And we just see here just them having this conversation about the book, down to Aiden saying, if he was still here, would I be here?
hmm I think I like that. I was actually surprised that Duncan brought that up.
Hmm.
Asking what kind of content he would be reading right now if Aiden were
Exactly.
still around, and I thought that was, excuse me, interesting. But also a valid question. And Duncan has this way of talking that it's so, and then maybe it's his accent, right? Because like you throw an accent on anything, and this is like fire. But he just has this way of being so gentle yet
Hmm.
direct with his words.
Yeah.
And I thought that just watching them in that moment almost made me want to go like, damn, maybe I need like I don't know, a podcast partner, right? Or somebody that's like, and I think that we do that with each other where we're like
Yeah.
spitballing ideas. And I can see that that makes the world a difference, especially as
Hmm.
them as writers. And I just love that the opening scene was that I kind of knew the tempo and where the episode was going to go because of how they started. So it was just very interesting to see that that's where they were going.
Yeah, I think that was the best decision to start off this episode that way, because it's opened up possibilities. And we brought up in the past a couple episodes ago when we was like, we wonder if this Duncan and Curry thing could be actually a thing. And just to
Mm-hmm.
start it off, and with that question by Duncan, what would it be like if he was here? That's almost him acknowledging that he feels that possibly Aiden was stunting Carrie's growth as a writer and possibly her growth as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And he just
Interesting.
happens to bring it up in that moment because he's not there, and he sees how much more free Carrie possibly seems to be. And that's what I
Right.
really got a sense in throughout this entire episode. But really, just to begin it this way, and you see just how free she seems to be. Like, there's no overly mourning of the relationship with Aiden, which I absolutely loved here.
I mean, but you cannot really mourn something you knew didn't feel 100%, right? Because
Look here.
giving 100% and it being 100% is two different things, right? She was giving her all, but Aiden was never giving his 100%. He wasn't present even when you can still be present and not be physically present. And he was never present. And so I don't
Mm.
see the real need to linger. She will have her moments, I think, where it will come to her and she'll feel some kind of way, rightfully so. But I just feel like she knew that there wasn't that thing that needed to be
Yeah,
held onto.
exactly. I mean, look here, because we're friends in real life here, even though we record every day. Cause shout out to my friend who said that. Cause look here, and shout out to my ex. Cause if you're not there 100%, you not there.
Hello?
Hey,
Hello?
that thing. Never have truer bars been spoken. I almost feel like I've listened to the Clips album as Amaya was speaking.
Hey, that's a fire album. We should do reviews on music next.
Exactly. But next up, we get Miranda, Steve for the first time this season, and Brady as Brady brings his parents together to tell them first that he is no
He wants
longer
to be
just
a
going to be
chef.
a cook and he wants to be a chef. He's going to culinary school.
Oh
Miranda says the
Lord.
most mothering thing in the world, which is I don't care what it is as long as you got a degree. If she
Hello?
don't sound like somebody's black mother, say I don't care
Hello?
what it is as long as you bring me a degree here, I'm happy with it.
Come on
But
now.
then he breaks the news to them that he has gotten someone pregnant that he's only known or had a relationship with for 2 or 3 times. He doesn't even know the person's last name. And then we get possibly one of the most explosive scenes of this season at
Yeah.
Steve, not Miranda. And I love that they showed this. The dad goes ballistic when
Yeah.
he hears this information. Now, I'm gonna ask you this in a two-parter. Just what do you think first about Steve's reaction to everything that Brady is telling him here? And second, the parallels, because Miranda brings it up later on, of this literally being the same thing that they went through when she found out she was pregnant with him.
You know, I understand in the sense of like I can see what that looks like in terms of wanting the best for your kid, right? And here he is, Brady is like, I'm gonna go be a chef. And I'm like, oh, this is dope because I'm looking at the food and I done got hungry. Okay. So I was like, it's late. I can't even eat right now, but this food look good. And then you drop the bomb and it's like, oh gosh. And so I think that because Steve was thinking, oh my gosh, he finally found something he wants to do, something he's passionate
Yes.
about.
Hmm.
Yes. And then you drop the bomb. And listen, a child is life altering, whether the person wants you, in a
Hmm.
man's case, wants you to be present or not, depending on the type of guy that you are, right? So
Yes.
when he's saying, like, well, she doesn't want me involved and all these other things, and
Hmm.
I mean, Steve is rightfully upset, but also as somebody who is in therapy, who understands words hurt,
Yeah.
um,
Uh-huh.
take it easy, and maybe go to anger management, Steve, because you're a little bit of a loose cannon, right? In those moments, especially when you want to be parented in a sense, right?
Yeah.
It's weird because you are an adult, like he's an adult, he's 20, but he's still a baby. And so he wants to be parented, but he doesn't want to be attacked either. And I think
Yeah.
that that's where some parents really do get their wires crossed because I'm coming to you and sharing this thing with you
Hmm.
that's going to be huge and may not be a preference in terms of something you want from my life does not give you the right to verbally attack, abuse, degrade, however you want to call
Hmm.
it. And I think that a lot of people be like, oh, that's soft parenting. No, 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 no. Words hurt. And there are a lot of us in therapy because our parents said some shit to us that was really
Yeah.
hurtful when we were younger. So, um, and I'm not faulting parents, you know what I mean? I'm just saying just try to do better. And I think that
Yeah.
Brady is just in this space right now where it is a lot to juggle, but I'm proud that Miranda was the one asking like the questions that needed to be asked. It might have seemed crass. I don't think so, but I just think she
No,
asked the
no,
question that
no,
needed to be
no.
asked.
Yes. I'm going to give a two-part answer here because it's highly important. As a male who, without going way too personal, has possibly been in this situation more than once, especially early in the 20 and around that age of being in this almost exact situation here, um, it is scary. And you're trying to figure out things, you're trying to understand things, you're trying to understand exactly what this position will put you in because you just don't
Hmm.
know. And not just about someone being pregnant with your child, but someone who openly tells you, really don't want you there. That is a hard pill to swallow, and that's something you have to deal with of a child coming to the world, especially and when you're, in my case, in your mid to late teens, and at
Hmm.
another time in your early 20s, and you hear things of this nature, it can be a shock to your system that you have to adjust to. That's one.
I mean,
The other thing
shit,
is,
it's a shock even at this grown age. It's like,
yes, oh my
I,
god, at this grown age, it just couldn't happen. I would have no form of understanding. I am too old to have that form of understanding at this
like,
point.
wait, what now?
But the other thing, and this is me letting my female audience here and my female co-host behind the curtain here.
Women or well,
I
yeah, okay.
I love the point they had Steve react this way. This is normally a conversation you get between a father and son that the mother is never involved in. Him
Mm,
going off like this is normally a conversation that happens. And the reason it happens is because at times, especially a father who possibly went through the same thing, expects more of their son. And there's so many different conversations that father and sons have about sex, about how to do things, and about how you should go about it. That when you see Steve react the way he does, what makes this scene great is that this is such a visceral reaction, but it's a visceral reaction that normally happens with just a father and son.
mm,
Have the
mm.
mother present, that's how you get to play off Miranda being the most sensible person. Because at a time when normally when especially when boys are involved, at a time when a father goes off, it's normally the mom who becomes the more sensible person.
Yeah,
But if you just had
yeah,
this conversation between a mother and a son, the mom would go off because she would have no understanding about any of this stuff. But when you add the father element into it, this ladies is what happens behind the closed doors. And it
mm,
normally does not
interesting.
involve you all. It's a father who will tell his son, like, if you say something stupid or you do this one more time, I swear I'm going to knock you out. And it's
No,
because
see,
at that moment, and I know again, it could be hard for some people to understand it, especially our female audience, even though I just want you to think about it in the realm of a mother and a daughter having a conversation and about how it can really blow up to a different area. At this point, the father, even though you're his son, he's looking at you as another man. And
mm,
at times you get judged that way. And it's like, "Nick, how did you make this mistake? It literally makes no sense." Like I didn't have this conversation with my dad, but I've had it with other male figures in my life, and I've been told
mm,
like, "I'm going to hurt you. Like
mm.
you can't be this stupid." It is so direct because at times with men, you have to be direct. You no beating around the bush. No like mothering here. This is not the time where I need my mom to step in and to save me to make me feel better. This is the time when you need another man to let you know just how irresponsible you've been.
Yeah,
And
that's
this
true.
is actually what society needs more of is older men holding younger men accountable for your
Accountable.
actions. Because the point that you done told your dad, you done got this girl pregnant and I don't know her last name. We only hooked up a couple of times. You know how many questions you had? Again, ladies, you don't understand just how early the sex talks happen between a father and a son, especially an active father. Those talks happen so young in life about, look here, you need to do this, you need to do that, all of that. Don't you let nobody talk you into not having protection. Don't you do that. Don't you go out here and get nobody pregnant for no reason. Are you
Listen,
crazy?
Well,
Understand that if you can't take care of yourself, I know we hear it all the time from
yeah,
moms with the daughters. This is a conversation that happens between fathers and sons. Nigga, if you can't take care of yourself, how the hell you gonna take care of another person?
yeah. Well, I
Are
mean,
you crazy?
we got that male birth control on the
Yes.
market in a
He's
couple of weeks.
hey. They said they not I say by the they didn't say a couple weeks, they said by the close of the decade. And
Oh,
we'll be too
well,
old to take it by that point.
that's
Because
trash.
at this point, I'm
They've been working on that way too long. They
wait,
got it so down packed for women, but they still can't
hey,
figure it out
hey,
for y'all. That's trash.
but yeah,
That's
but again,
trash.
this was such an amazing thing. It's kind of hard to see in a realm of the entire family being there, but from a male perspective, I love this conversation. I've had this again. I had this conversation had with me when I was younger, and I've
Hmm.
had it with people younger than me who tell me this exact same story. Are you crazy? What are you
Yeah.
doing? Like, again, it just seems harsh. And Brady's response is natural because his mom's there. I don't think a response happens that way if it's between him and his father. And we also got to keep in mind, Steve's been raising Brady. It's not
Hmm.
been Miranda. He's been living with his
Yeah.
dad since they got a
Yeah.
divorce. So
Yeah.
I think it hit Steve even harder about
Harder.
if we had these conversations, how can you be this irresponsible? I just love
Yeah.
I love the way they played this out completely, down to Miranda's being able to be, because she's normally the neurotic one, and she gets to
Hmm.
be the more reasonable parent. Like, okay, you don't know her name, you didn't see Miranda even blow up about that. She's like, okay, what's next? She's trying to figure everything out, and it's because Steve is going off, and I
Yeah.
love that they showed this element of it because we normally see the element of the woman going off. And it's great to see this element of the man going off. But again, ladies, it's also for you all to know this conversation happens behind closed doors all the time. If you have a child, a son that's a teenager, and you have an active dad in his life, I hate to tell you this if you did not know, these conversations take place all the time. And fathers do not talk to their sons like their sons, they talk to them like another man is in the room. So it's amazing that we had that conversation here in this episode. But well, next up technically would be the other part of Miranda telling
Carrie
Carrie
and
and
Charlotte.
Charlotte about Brady
I love
having a
that
baby
three-way
here.
call.
Again, this is another great scene here. I'm going to ask you what you think from a female's perspective here about her having this call, down to Carrie bringing up, well, is it a grandchild or is this a problem? Because she's been very adamant that she don't want him involved. If she don't want him involved, that includes you also. Is what you think
Yeah.
about this scene?
I mean, I like it because it's relatable, right? Like at this age, at any age, once you get a cell phone, once you develop friends,
Yeah.
man or woman, but specifically women right now, you get that group of girlfriends, that pod that you want to stay on the phone with, that you want to text
Hmm.
message, and we all have that group where you're like, oh, hold on, let me add this person in, and now you want to have that conversation. So I really love that they keep reminding us of their friendship and of the bond that the ladies have, because that's necessary in supporting each other. We just saw them support Charlotte through the prostate cancer with Harry. So it's
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
continuing the support. And so I like that. And I also just like that the way that Carrie makes the comment, it is a question to ask, and also how Charlotte is being like, well, what is next, and how where do you go from here? So I think both of them were. It was kind of like having the two people on your shoulder, right? You have the good, the bad, not necessarily the good and the
Hmm.
bad, but just like the different
Two
opposing
people on your shoulder.
points
Yeah.
of view, yeah, to have those
Hmm.
conversations. So I did enjoy that, and I like I said, that they're keeping consistent with the friendships.
Yeah. Again, it's just always another amazing thing just to show women relationships and not in a
Hmm.
negative way. The point that she's like, let me reach out to my sisters because this is crazy.
Yeah.
And did you get the information that's necessary? Down to her to say, I didn't even know Brady was seeing somebody. And Miranda's like,
Right.
he's not. Like this
Hmm.
is even her feeling comfortable enough to say, doesn't this sound familiar? Just to bring it up to them, like this is kind of the same thing I went through with Steve.
Yep.
And I understand this was he going through. And just having those friends. Again, this whole entire episode is about having those tough conversations with the people that you love and how they play out.
Yeah.
And this was an amazing showing here of it. Next up, and this is where we pivot on the show, where we just talk about and the couple's entire storyline for the episode. Because next up is Anthony and Giuseppe as they are in bed about to, yeah. And then a gas leak happens. And then they
Gas is
decide,
crazy.
as Anthony was about to go somewhere else, a hotel, and Giuseppe says, let's just go back to my place. And Anthony makes a joke about him having a weird roommate. And it turns out Giuseppe has the weirdest roommate in the world. As later on we find out that
Yes.
his roommate has created a doll of Giuseppe as a
Mhm.
puppet. First, I'm gonna stop there before we go to the other part of Anthony and Giuseppe. Just what did you just think about just how it presents itself of them leaving Anthony's place, going back to Giuseppe's place, and then we meet this roommate who is asexual, because I think that's the most interesting part of this. That the roommate is
Mm.
asexual, but then he creates a doll of Giuseppe.
So a couple things stood out to me for this particular scene, right? One,
Mhm.
knowing that Giuseppe comes from money, knowing that he
Yes.
is making it on his own. I think that I didn't particularly care for Anthony and his jokes because
Yes.
we never know. The people that love us will take the jokes, but we don't know how the jokes actually affect them. I'll say
Mhm.
that. Secondly, I'm still trying to figure out how old Giuseppe was and why he couldn't just find a college age roommate, because this man gave me all of the creepy goosebump vibes
Every
as
bit
soon
of
as I
them.
saw him. First of all, sir, do not enter my room without knocking first. And then when you knock, wait for me to answer. Okay. Like there are rules to this. Like you don't just come into my, like, red flag, very, very red flags. And then, and again, like Anthony just going with the flow. And I like that. I was, happy to see him being like, okay, listen, you're right. Let's go to your place. Let's do this. But you can tell that he's visibly uncomfortable. Well, not visibly, but he's uncomfortable visibly and verbally. He expresses his uncomfortability. But I will say that I think that we have to get away from making light of things that actually bother us, right?
Yes.
Because
Mhm.
he's like, well, like what is this weirdo? Like, oh, but how do you have why is your roommate Geppetto? You know what I mean? Like even
Yep.
just things
Mhm.
like that. Like we have to learn to be more direct, especially with things that
Mhm.
are actually serious to us that bother us.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I thought it was interesting, but I will just say that the transition they handle it well. And an unfortunate situation with Giuseppe, what Anthony says actually turns out to be true, and so now
Mhm.
that in turn, he's like, yeah, like you said, towards the end, he's like, let's move in together. um
Mhm.
Very interesting. Their storyline is very interesting. I feel like sometimes I'm missing bits and pieces. Like there's could be more that could connect us a little bit.
Yeah.
um so yeah.
I think that was the issue a little bit here with their storyline, is that we went from the very uncomfortableness of the doll maker just busting in his room, and then Giuseppe saying, I'm his muse.
Hmm.
That would bring so many red flags. If
Yeah,
I'm ever with
I
someone and
would.
you're telling me your roommate has decided that you're their muse, yeah, you can't be roommates with them anymore. And
Yeah.
that's being in a relationship. So that was weird already. And that you see Anthony trying to joke his way through it. But then down to Anthony asking Giuseppe, like, hey, you should move in with me. And Giuseppe saying no at first, up until he leaves to go to the restroom. And the roommate is doing what he does to the doll of Giuseppe, which lets you
Yeah.
know that again, you point out everything Anthony thought was real and true.
Mhm.
That this guy is literally a creep. He created a doll of you. That should be enough
Yeah.
right there. And again, it's just interesting to show that. And just you do kind of feel like, well, you're missing a beat of something different here of
Mhm.
their storyline, especially when we just had Gia last episode. One, try to get Giuseppe a place, and
Yeah.
then like. And now you find out he has a roommate, and you're like, wait a minute, that's odd, because you're
Yeah.
not poor. You are far from poor as humanly possible here.
Yeah.
Like again, but
Yeah.
it also shows that maybe this is Giuseppe wanting to make it on his own and not
Yeah, which I
wanting to
think
take
it
money
is.
from his mom.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Which is
want a
so
little bit more about their
yeah,
story. I want to see them dating and get like I want to know the intimacy, like the intricacies, and
yes,
not just like
hmm
surface. Because it
yes,
is surface to me in a way that they do tackle real things, but they don't tackle them very long, right? Like you said, his
yeah,
mom was here for maybe 1.5 episodes. So it's like, okay, and then now y'all into the next quote unquote like issue or
yeah,
obstacle, so to speak. So what is it about the relationship? Like give me the core is what I would
yes,
what I would say. Yeah.
exactly. Next up, let's go. We can run through this one quickly because there's not much to talk about. And that's Lisa Herbert, the mother from hell, the mother-in-law from hell, the daughter, and this hamster whose name is Shirley for some odd reason. And all I kept on thinking was Shirley from What's Happening and wondering why the hell is this hamster named after Shirley from What's Happening. But here we start off first with Lisa just being overwhelmed and Herbert acknowledging like it is overwhelmed. Like let's get together. Let's solve all of this as they're just going to
Mhm.
another banquet for him.
Mhm.
And next up, we get a scene where Lisa yells at Gabby, her daughter, for losing the hamster in the room, and Herbert doing the sweetest thing in the world, which is having her understand you're just human. You
Yeah.
can yell, you had a bad day, and that's perfectly
Right.
fine. So before we
Mhm.
get to the end part of Herbert losing the race and everything aftermath of that, just what do you think about this early part of their storyline where Herbert just gets to the point of just helping to reassure Lisa as she is feeling overwhelmed with her daughter, Herbert stuff, and her own business of trying to be a mom to everything and having to prepare the house for Herbert's mom who's coming into town.
First of all, Ixnay Upenstay on hamsters as pets. Anything that's a rodent ain't coming in the house. That's a wrap.
In no
You got the
circumstance.
that's no.
Mm-mm.
And so, it's so interesting because I'm thinking to myself, why do you think this hamster is bored? And like if you were going to walk it, why didn't you put it on a leash? Okay, you know what? Those are grown-up questions. You're a child. Moving on. I love
Exactly.
the I love the portrayal of seeing a couple have moments and or a partner of the couple has a moment and the other person steps up to support them. I think we don't take emotional support, um
Mm,
we take it for granted rather. The other day my husband and I were talking in therapy and he said it sounds like she needs a verbal hug. And I was like, "Oh my god, that's like a perfect way to describe how I would prefer people to talk to me, right?" I
yeah.
didn't say dumb it down, or sugarcoated or be passive, but like a lot of people, I think that we're coming into a space where people do not care like how they talk to people. And so looking at him be supportive of his wife in a moment where he could have been frustrated with her, right? Because you yelled at our
Mhm,
daughter, she's feeling some kind of way, my mom is here, you know, now she's feeling some kind of way, so I love that he took a moment to support, remind her, like, hey, today you're not
mhm,
gonna be super mom. That is okay. That is
mhm,
okay. And I like that I think that we should do more of that, reminding ourselves, even in friendships, like, listen, yo, like, yeah, that project did not go the way that you wanted it to go, but like, you're human, you're okay. It is okay. I think we do get caught up in like trying to be perfect. And when you're talking about moms,
yeah.
you're talking about women with jobs. She's in a very high position at work. She's working on a huge project. She still
Mhm,
has to be a mother. She has to be supportive to a guy who's running for campaign. She has to cater to the mother-in-law, like all these things can like I'm surprised she didn't just pass out from, you
yes.
know,
Mhm,
just emotional distress, you know what I mean? Um, but I love that she had him to lean on in times when she needed him. But then when we
mhm,
see him lose the race, what I
Mm.
like about this is that it shows you that what's done for one can't necessarily be done for the
Yeah,
other.
for the other. Again, ladies, I'm going to say this in twofold here. First, you know what? For a mom, I'm never going to ever say that I believe mothers, especially active mothers, working mothers, get the respect that they should get. Because, and I love that Herbert was able to stick up for his wife here. You
Mm-hmm.
can't be super mom all the time, but it's for a mother who wants to be great, it is hard to tell her you can't be great all the time.
Yeah.
Because any mom who wants to be great, even when she fails, she's still putting 110% into her failure. She's
Yep.
gonna do everything in the world to make everybody happy. Because we
Yeah.
see it here with Lisa. She's First, she's like, "Wait a minute, that was just a stupid thing. Why would you take this hamster off of it? I got a rodent in this house. I'm not cool with this." But beforehand, we see her literally go along with her daughter, saying, "You're not spending enough time with the hamster. This is not a child. That's a rodent that you put in the house. Why would I care about spending enough time with it?" But she never says that to her daughter. She takes it on as another
Mm-hmm.
job, another responsibility, because
Yeah.
that's what moms do. Like no matter what, they gonna a mom will always be they gonna support your little hamster, your hamster
They
child,
go
just like they
mom
used
for
to
sure.
support back in the day. Because we old enough to remember that little egg child he used to give you, and your mom would treat it like it was an actual grandbaby,
Yes. Oh my gosh.
like stuff like
Definitely.
that. So I love that, and I love that they show Herbert just supporting her in those moments because
Mm-hmm.
it's so important to understand when you have a partner and you have children, or even if you don't got children, you got dog children, pet kids, parent,
Yeah.
or plant kid. Don't matter what it is. At times, your partner needs reassurance that you can't be perfect. It's
Yeah.
only been one perfect person supposedly in this world. It ain't you. We're all human. We're all gonna fall
No.
short from time to time, and it's fine. He didn't take that moment to criticize her at all. He feel like I understand why you did what you did,
Mm-hmm.
but I need you not to feel bad for why you did what you did. It's something that if you have a great partner, even partner, friends, family, anything, that's what you need is that assurance that what I did wasn't wrong. It's a
Right.
natural reaction to the situation. That's amazing. Next up, we get to see the flip of it. And that is her, Lisa, trying to support Herbert after the loss and after his mother says possibly one of the most hurtful things in the world to him.
Yeah.
And she's trying to reassure him. But ladies, this is the other thing. Men don't react to reassurance the way you do. Like men, it's a process. But Lisa still does her best to like, hey, you're human. Everyone fails. I
Yeah.
need you not to let this destroy you. And we see he's not very receptive to it, but most men aren't receptive to that type of stuff.
Yeah.
A
I
loss
think
feels like a loss that is insurmountable most times to
yeah.
men. And
I
we
I
see the
will
growth of that.
say that she probably I would say that in this situation I would have went a little harder in the
Mm,
way I would have supported him
yeah.
because of what his mother said to him, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it would have been about, and this is a tricky thing, right? Because there was this pause where the mom is kind of like standing there and she says what she says, she pauses and she kind of and then she walks away. And I'm wondering, and ladies in the comments, if you have a boyfriend, if you have a husband, I mean, whomever, if you're married, you have a husband, you have a wife, whatever, how would you have reacted in this moment?
Mm,
Would you have defended, not even defended, protected your spouse
mhm.
in this moment? Because to me, that felt very much like, oh no, 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 you can't talk to my husband like that. That's crazy. Like what we're
Yes.
not gonna do,
Mhm.
but in the most respectful way. Because I think the problem is that things like that happen, and because we're like, oh, that's just the way they are, or oh, they're set in their ways, and like, no, no, I think that if we don't challenge that kind of behavior from the elders, you can still teach an old dog new tricks. They can still change. They can adjust. And if you want to be
Mhm,
present in this house, then those kind of things are not welcome in here. So I
mhm.
would have went harder. I would have went harder for my husband if that were if I was in her shoes,
Yeah.
because I do think there needed to be a little bit more umph behind what she said, but also like coming on the you have the laws he got, and then you have your mom saying that to you. That's like a double whammy right there.
Mhm. Men's biggest kryptonite is an active mother who criticizes them.
Mm-hmm.
Men don't know how to deal with that. It's very rare that you'll see a man go back with his mom on anything that she says.
Mm-hmm.
You'll take it and you'll be like, I can't say nothing because that's my mom. And at times, this, ladies, if it's your husband, your boyfriend, your friend, anybody, this is when they need your protection the most
Yeah.
because men do not stick up to their moms. And nothing can hurt a man more than his mother's words. We literally saw Herbert feel like he was going in a shell when his mom said, "Why did you even run if you thought it
When
was
you
a
knew.
possibility that you can
Oh
lose?
my
Are you
gosh.
crazy?" That's almost saying, ain't no reason to run the race if you are 100% sure you're going to win. And to
Right.
hear that from your mom, that is
Mm,
the most hurtful thing in the world. And no man
yeah.
is going to respond and be like, "Mom, you don't know what you're talking about." That's never going to happen. They're going to eat that. And it literally becomes, and I know it's not fair, but it comes up to that man's partner to bring up, "Hey, mm-mm,
Mhm.
we're not doing that today." Like we
Mhm.
again, don't have to be disrespectful, but it'd be like, Mom, I need you to leave me and him alone so we can have a conversation because we're not
Yeah.
doing that today."
Yeah.
All I gotta do is be respectful because no
Yeah.
man is going to hear that
Yeah.
and respond to it in a way that you would think they would be defending themselves. They're going to internalize that, and that's going to become a core memory of hurt
Yeah.
because they'll remember it forever, but they'll never correct their mom.
Agreed.
Yeah, and that's why you can see even when she's trying to reassure Herbert, he's just responding like he is in a he's out, he's
Yeah,
zoned out.
he's yeah, he checked
Yeah,
out. Mhm.
he can't hear anything at that point because his mom hurt him beyond measure, and
Yeah.
he's already suffering a hurt. Like he ran a race thinking he could win, and then he thought he
Yeah.
definitely would win, and
Right.
then all of a sudden everything changes. And when you don't have, and I know when you're married, they tell you that your wife supersedes your mom.
Your
I
mother.
hate to tell you
Mhm.
this.
Yeah, and that's
It
yeah,
literally
I don't
it never happens. Not in
I
the
mean,
sense
I
of the person that could hurt me the most. It will
yeah, yeah,
always be your
yeah.
mom that could hurt you the most. So for
Yeah.
her to say that to Herbert at that moment, it hurt him so much, and he did
Yeah.
not know how to respond to it.
Rubbing salt in the open wound for sure.
Yes. Again, again, I hate to tell you that. Another thing that women have to correct for men. We can't correct it on our own. I'm letting you know that now. We cannot correct it on our own. That's what you all are there for, is to stick up for me. Be my bodyguard against my mama.
Listen.
Be my Kevin Costner. Like I
Hey.
want to run to you when she makes me mad.
I can't. You get on my nerves.
Next up on the storyline, we have Adam and speaking of mothers, Adam and Seema. As first as they go to Adam's place, and Adam's apartment in New York is ridiculous.
Hello. We
Only
said
for
it was a
Seema to
nice.
ask,
Didn't we say that? We said he had a
yes.
nice place.
Mhm. Only for Seema to ask the questions that everyone would ask, and
Hello.
Adam let her know, like, hell up, it's rent controlled. And Seema's like, well, how much is it? How much are you paying a month? And for that amazing apartment, he tells
Hello.
Seema, I pay $900
I
a
want to live
month.
there. Give me the address of that place. And I hate New York in terms of going back to live there, but I would live in that place for 900
Yeah,
bucks a
I
month.
will be anybody's
Absolutely.
grandchild for a rent controlled apartment in New York City.
Absolutely.
Just let me
Absolutely.
know. I'm for rent. If you need a grandchild, and I will come visit
Hello.
you in New York until you leave me the apartment. I will come cook for
That's
you
what I want. That's
until
what
you
I'm
leave
there
me the
for.
apartment. Exactly. But Next up, we Adam then leans to tell Seema about his mom passing away, which she did not know. But then he brings up one of the sweetest moments of the episode, saying, "Hey," as she says, "I wish I would have met your mom." And he says, "Hmm." And he brings her to a plant. He said, "I got my mom this plant when I was 7. This
Mm-hmm.
is now my mom." Basically saying a soul transference of his mom to this plant. Just what did you just think about the earlier part of this conversation between them two? Down to Seema saying, "I wish I would have been able to meet her." And then him to bring up that this plant exists because he gave this to his mom when he was 7. And the way she nurtured it is the way he nurtures it.
Listen, I have the same exact plant in my living room, and that plant, I mean, it. I cannot remember the name of it, so I don't want to get it wrong. But because I named all my plants, so I forgot what they what they are. Um, I love the idea of, again, this is one of my favorite storylines
Yes.
because it is a nice surprise. This is a great character combo because of the differences, because it shows you to look at somebody not for what they have, but for how they make you feel. And her admiration for his place as a real estate, or as a what's the word? I forget.
Landscaper.
No,
You
no,
talking about
no.
his John?
Seema.
She's a realtor, ain't she?
Oh, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I thought she was a broker, maybe. Is it
A
a broker?
broker, realtor broker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
she
okay.
brokers deal for
Um.
apartments.
Okay. So yeah. So just her admiration as that, but also just like curious about who he is and the
Yes.
person he is, his actual life, and so him sharing that moment with her shows his vulnerability. And I really love that moment, and I almost knew instinctively something was going to happen to the plan because they
Yeah.
spent some time really invested in this story. So then you see her like, here's what I love the most. That's why I will say this. What I loved the most was that as soon as it happened, she went to wake him up because
Yeah.
people
Hmm.
would have gone downstairs, try to put it back together. There could have been so many different routes, but I've rarely seen somebody do something and then they instantly go and tell on themselves to say,
Hmm.
hey, this has happened. So I love that. I love his reaction to it. Um because it's raw and it's like real, but then him showing up and giving her bits and pieces is such a huge statement.
Yes.
um and her even saying like, I don't want to kill her twice, you know what I mean, like I don't got the green thumb. And I really I love this storyline. For me, it's a feel good storyline. And with all
Yes.
the things that are happening in this
Hmm.
series, that one just is super composed very well for me for Seema.
Yes. This was everything about this scene, everything about their storyline this episode was great. One, as someone who lost a mom, like just to bring up the plant and to bring up those pieces that remind you of your mom is a great and amazing. And to be
Mm-hmm.
able to be comfortable enough to share that with your partner. Down to even Seema talking to Carrie about, look, his apartment's that's a shrine to his mom. She's a saint. But then
Mm-hmm.
for her to accidentally knock the plant out the window and immediately tell him, most sitcoms you hide that. And then the person
Mm-hmm.
finds out in the morning. His reaction to it, and then him telling her everything is okay.
Yeah.
When they get back to her room, I'm sorry, her office, and
Yeah,
he's
because she's
like,
been
I
avoiding
haven't heard
him.
from you.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, well, I knocked the plant out the window. I killed your mom again. He said, no, cancer took her away. Immediately correcting her to let her know, like, I'm not going to allow you to blame yourself for what happened. If I told
Right.
you it's fine, it's fine. And then, as you pointed out, him having the plants in the office and her saying, well, that's not me. And he said, that's what you have me for. Like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, Joe. If all Seema needs is a glass slipper at this point. Because
Hello.
clearly,
Come on now.
clearly, this is again, this is, I think, as you pointed out, the feel good storyline for this season. Is whatever here has happened between Adam and Seema. Because it almost feels at this point he's taken away her excuses that she gave at the beginning of the season for not dating men.
Yeah. Yep.
Because he's showing very much he does not care about a lot of those things. He's like, I care
Yeah.
about you, not those things involved. So again, that is an amazing thing that we're seeing in so far with this with Adam and Seema. Next
Because
up,
it's so
you just go,
it's I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna say real quick, it's so crazy. This is the same season with Seema having the dating coach.
Yes.
You know
And the
what I
dating
mean?
coach knew nothing about this.
It's just so completely 180 for her, and
Mhm.
I love the growth that her character has really shown.
Yes. Down to still keeping the office, which I love that we saw the office again in this episode.
Hello, because you know I love me that office. I was just
Yes.
eyeballing it like,
And to show that Adam showed up to the office. Like, I'm not gonna allow you to avoid me for this
mm-hmm.
situation. But then he didn't come and
Yeah,
blaming her, like, well, why haven't I heard from you any of this stuff? It's more of an understanding, like, I understand that this you may think this is bigger than what it is to me,
yeah,
but you
yeah,
mean more to me than anything else. Like, you need to see the hope of love, basically.
yeah,
That's what they're
yeah.
giving here. And next up, we're going to focus on our old couple of love here, even though it only focus really on one of them, and that is Charlotte here. As we open up the episode with Charlotte attempting to talk to her psychic cleansing person that she won in the auction. Well, we see that
Listen,
she's getting one renovations done to their place that Harry says is highly unnecessary. But Charlotte says the wallpaper needed to be replaced. We see Rock taking tap dancing lessons outside of her room, and she's attempting to have this cleansing happen with this person who puts Charlotte on Zoom but refuses to turn on their camera, which is
hello, because ma'am,
insane.
I'm not doing that, ma'am. I'm not doing that.
Insane.
Turn your camera on. I pay for the services.
Exactly.
I
I
want to
don't care
make
if I
sure you're
paid
not
a
over there
dollar
eating a
for it.
burger. Hello,
I don't
for real.
care. But and a lot of it just this is a lot of it is setup and preposition to set up this final scene between Charlotte as she decides to go to Carrie's place because she needs the peace and quiet to be able to have this conversation. And
Yeah.
in the midst of it, this is when she actually gets to let everything out and she tells the psychic cleansing person everything that's going on with Harry and that she's been suffering and she's not had an outlet to get all these emotions out. And this is when she turns on her camera and tells Charlotte, like, first, let's talk through this. Let's work through everything else. And Charlotte's saying we don't have enough time, meaning it's a time frame on a amount that she won. And the woman tell her, it doesn't matter. I'm here for
Yeah,
you, and we're
because
gonna get
listen, the
this out.
fact that she was counting her, she said you got 40 minutes. She said you got 12 minutes left because you kept asking me to reschedule. I said this is disrespectful. You ain't got your camera on. Every time I call you, you
Nothing.
minus 10 minutes. Like who? I need a. Where are you on Yelp? Because I need to leave a review. Damn it.
Exactly.
So, but I actually really did enjoy seeing this. One, because first of all, let me tell you, Charlotte is me. And I say that because Charlotte has such a poise about her. Like she gets angry, she gets frustrated, she gets flustered, she gets anxious, she gets stressed. But she knows how to deal with it in
Yeah.
a way that just you still feel the love emanating off of her, right? And
Yeah.
so I just love that she presents it, but I love seeing her in this moment where she's being vulnerable and able to let loose because you
Yes.
see her keeping it together, right? For the most part. So now I have this moment, I have the quiet, I have the peace. Let me tell you, I have been holding it all in. I've been holding it together. I never really fully got to process, and now it's all coming out. And I just
Yes.
loved her really sharing that and and showing that this is reality too, right? Being a
Yeah.
mom, having to take care of your husband, having renovations done, doing all these things that are distractions, but Charlotte decided I matter and I need to put myself first. So I'm going to find a way to get these distractions out and
Mhm.
find some space where I can do me. And I was really happy to see that.
down to saying, "Hey, Carrie, I'm coming to your place because everything's just crazy in mine. But
Yeah.
I know I need this reading, and it's because she needed to get off just of her heart everything that was happening with Harry and needing that outlet. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I love the point that they show that with Charlotte. Like Charlotte's the most consistent character on the show. That we've seen the same thing from no matter what. Like literally nothing changes with Charlotte throughout
Right.
this entire process of this show. And this is just another element to show. And down to the psychic who's like, you know what? You actually have an actual problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna brush everything aside. I think, as I said, I think I put another element of what runs through this show, but for this episode, but it may be more of an episode about just human compassion. Because that's what we get in almost every single element of everyone's storyline. And that's all the scene was between Charlotte and the psychic is compassion. I'm saying, I know what you've been going through. I'm just here. And
Right.
let's work this out. Doesn't matter how much time you have left. I know that you need this. So that's amazing to show. But then again, in another storyline about Charlotte being there for people, as we get Miranda, as she becomes now obsessive of finding out who Brady has gotten pregnant and where this person is, and she finds out that the baby mama works at a salon. She doesn't even know what this woman does at the salon. And she shows
No.
up to the salon saying, "Hey, you come highly recommended." And we find out that she's a shampoo girl.
Mm-hmm.
And during the shampoo, is Miranda started asking very invasive. Am I saying the right word right there? Invasive
Yeah.
questions? Yes. Invasive questions to the shampoo girl about the father of her child. And said, well, does the father know? Do you know who the father is? And all these questions, which leads Maya, who is a shampoo girl, and Brady's uh, hookup, because that's what she
Mm-hmm.
describes it as.
Yeah.
And this is when Miranda comes clean, like, I'm the hookup's mom. And Maya goes off on her. This what do you think about this setup of Miranda becoming obsessive to find out who this woman is, and then lying to this woman, and then attempting to correct her lie and saying, "Hey, I just want to be involved in this child's life because of the family dynamics of it."
Overstepping.
Mm,
Overstepping. Like if I get the intent, but no, overstepping. And because that's a conversation Brady should have with Maya, and
yes.
that's a conversation that he should conduct between Maya and Miranda and Steve,
Hmm.
right? If he wanted to. So for me, it was overstepping. It was weird. I see that they threw in like the whole, what are these people called now? Gen X? I don't know. I can't keep up, but
Uh, Alpha is the next generation behind Gen Z.
well, I think
Did you say Generation X? Wait a minute. Generation X is before us.
um listen, I'm sleepy, so just blame it on that. But no, I feel like I saw threw in the whole, like, after she's saying, well, I just want to be part of the baby's life, and whether it's a boy or a girl, and she's like, oh, you're so gender something.
Binary. Gender
Yeah,
binary.
binary. And I think
Yeah.
that it's interesting. It's not interesting in a bad way, but I don't know. This scene felt awkward, like maybe misplaced
Yeah.
a little bit. And so for me, that was the only thing. But I
Mhm.
yeah, definitely overstepping. And I do listen, Charlotte is a ride or die for real.
That's it. That's all it.
Like for
Charlie
real.
gonna be there no matter what.
No matter what.
Yeah. But this is a situation of ladies, if your son tells you he got somebody pregnant and he's only slept with her a couple times and he don't know her name, that does not mean it's up to you to find out who this woman is. He don't know
For
nothing about this
real.
woman.
For
The
real.
chance Brady didn't even know she had a job. If I can tell you how many people I have, unfortunately, in my youth had adult interactions with, it's so many people I don't know their names. Forget last name. I may not even know your first name. Like
Right.
it just happens that way at times. And this is a case where just Miranda wanting to be involved. I think, especially since the mom told Brady that she didn't want him involved in her life, in whatever the baby's life is. And then that's when Miranda couldn't accept it. Down to the mother saying, I don't know if this is a real thing, and I know you would know more than me. When she said, I was going to have, uh, I don't like saying that word, a smishmortion, up
Oh
until
yeah,
I found out the baby was a double Libra. What?
it's a real thing. It's when your sun and your rising are in the same sign.
Oh, okay.
So
I,
yeah, because
I'm
right
so
now we talk
confused by that.
about your sun, your rising, and your moon. So basically, horoscope aside, right? Basically, it's just saying like each of those things are a different personality trait that you hold, right? One is like who you present to be. The other one is who you really are when you are
Mm,
peeled back.
yeah.
And then I can't remember what your moon is, but yeah, there are some people who are like really that sign. So like for example, I one of my exes I think was actually Scorpio 3 times, like Scorpio moon, Scorpio sun, Scorpio rising, and I was like, what the? That's a lot of Scorpio. That's a ridiculous amount of Scorpio. So it just means that your
Mm.
traits show up differently. But yeah, it's a real thing.
Oh
But
my
it's
God.
I didn't like that. I don't, again, like I said, the scene felt misplaced. It felt misplaced. And it
Yeah.
almost for me, that you we're talking about a life here. Like we're talking about bringing a life into the world, a whole person
Yes.
that you're gonna have to care for. I think making a frivolous decision of like, oh, they were a double Libra is why you chose to stay
Have a
pregnant is
baby.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Was not I didn't like that.
It just shows a bunch of irresponsibility amongst
Yeah.
all parties
On
involved.
both, yeah, I would say on both
Yeah.
parties. Yep.
On all parties involved. I mean, down to everything Brady did and him seeming to openly accept, like, hey, she don't want me in child's life, so it is what it is. It's like, come on
Mm-hmm.
now. Like,
Yeah.
well, we got to do better than that. And her saying something about a double Libra. Look, I don't know what any of that means. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because somebody told me that I got somebody pregnant and they say it's a double cancer, I would almost say, hey, maybe we should rethink this. It's too
Maybe
many
not.
emotions in there.
Maybe not. No, and I will say a big F you to Maya, right? Because how dare you brand Miranda a Taurus? I was offended. As a Taurus, I'm offended. So, yeah, moving on.
Look at all cancers. If we don't get along with any other sign, we get along with Tauruses. I
Hey,
can't say nothing
listen.
about it. I've never met. Once I've really found out what zodiac signs was, I've never met a Taurus that I did not like, and that is very weird for me. Like
Yeah,
Taurus and Cancers mix very well together. It's the
we
bold
do.
personality with the emotions. It mixes so well together,
Mm-hmm.
male or
Yeah,
female.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But last up, we're gonna finish out the storyline between Carrie and Duncan. As in their next storyline is that Carrie printer breaks and Duncan decides to help her fix it. And it's just a sweet scene to show the setup of Curry's closet, because if you don't ever need to see nothing else, it's
You need to
always
see the
an
closet.
amazing opportunity to see her closet, see her shoes, and everything of this nature. And this is when Duncan invites her to his publisher's party.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Curry fret over the party, down to when Charlotte comes over to talk to the psychic of Charlotte seeing a dress Curry has out, and Curry wondering if this is too much. Her wondering, like, well, Miranda thinks this, Aiden thought this. Maybe I don't necessarily want to pursue it, because if I do, then Miranda would be right, and Charlotte saying, fuck Miranda. Just what
Hello.
do you just think about, before we get to the final part of them, just this early setup of it, of we see Curry fretting over what other people would think if she pursued anything with Duncan.
So, and again, the why I love Charlotte's character is
Mm-hmm.
because the it's like a gentle nudge, right? It's
Yeah.
like, and it also reminds you, like, at the end of the day, I can give you an advice, I can give you my opinion, You still got
Yep.
to be the one to choose. You
Mhm.
still got to be the one to decide what's best for you. And I love that because I think so many people in this generation, I'll say in the last 10 years, I've had some really difficult conversations with friends in terms of like, I can't deal with the way you talk to me, right?
Mhm.
Very much so, like I'm keeping it 100. I'm standing 10 toes down. I don't know what that means. I read somewhere that it said people who do that cannot resolve. They don't know how to resolve conflict, and that they also don't know how to um emotionally. They're
Mm.
not necessarily emotionally intelligent to respond in a way that is still holds weight, but it doesn't hurt your, like it's not cutting you off at the knees. And so I like that Charlotte is like, so what? Like, who cares? This is about you. It's about what you
Mhm.
want. Aiden is gone. You are here. Miranda made her comment, but so what? What do you want? And then her saying ultimately, like, it's on
Mhm.
you. And so I love that because sometimes we do need to like listen. You don't have to be long winded. State your piece to your friend or to whomever, and then
Yep.
the rest is up to you. And so I really like that because it it reminds Carrie to like, you know what I mean? Because remember, I think I said this in like maybe the last episode of before last. She just didn't feel like herself. She didn't. The where was
Yeah.
the confidence? Where is the like? I am this person. I deserve these things. Like I am
Mhm.
worthy. I wasn't seeing that. So now it's like, okay, all right. So let Charlotte tell you this is what it is. Figure it
Right.
out. Choose what you want, and it's a dress that deserves to be worn. And you see
Warren.
her
Yes.
like, kind of battle with that, right? Because she comes down in a, so I'm like, where is she going? To like work? Like, what's happening here? Like, I thought she was going to a party. You look like you're going to the office, a fancy office, but nonetheless, you're still going to an office. And
Yep.
then her deciding, like, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna put on the dress and I'm gonna show up, and in her showing up, people being like, "Oh shit, that's Carrie Bradshaw," and I really like that because there was a
Hey,
turn for
that
me.
was an amazing thing. Yeah, that was an amazing thing to show. And I
Yeah.
think it stems back to the conversation between Duncan and Carrie. When they talk about their accomplishments, and Duncan's like, "Hey, I've had 5 bestsellers," and Carrie's like, "Oh, I have 7."
Mhm.
Like, it's because we gotta remember Duncan doesn't understand just how big of an author she is.
Mhm.
He does not know. And
Right.
it's because he's in this world of biographies, and Carrie doesn't do biographies, she does fiction.
Yeah.
But I love the point that, as you pointed out, when she first came out of the business suit, which I think I know a Tom Brown suit or something of that relation when I see one, but she's still like that. That's an expensive business suit that she
Oh, it
had
is.
on.
Yeah.
Yes, but then she changes into the dress, and then she's walking up to the publisher's party. She walks in the door, and the publisher is immediately like, "Oh my god, that's Carrie Bradshaw. What
Mhm.
is she doing here?" And
Right.
for Duncan to then say, "Oh, I invited her," like, how do you know her? Like,
Right.
it shows just how big of a person Carrie is, because whether it be in Just Like That or Sex in the City, we always knew she was an author. But here
Right.
is the first like showing. Not only is she an author, a publisher from the UK knows exactly who she is, and that's a
Mhm.
big deal. That Carrie
Yeah.
Bradshaw walks through a door. That's what I love more than anything this episode. It's just to show Curry in that light. Now, afterwards, as we close out this episode, is as they walk home after the book thing with the publisher, and Curry finding out that Duncan was at one point in time married to his book publisher, which
Mhm.
unto itself is an amazing thing here. They get back to the place. Duncan invites Carrie to come back to his place after they have a moment. Carrie first says no,
Yeah.
decides to go down. And then we get what we always knew what was going to happen between Carrie and Duncan. And then they have afterwards one of the best conversations I've seen on this show, because it's such an adult conversation and a mature adult conversation to have of what does this mean and how does this look moving forward. Because what do you think about this entire final scene with final scenes with Carrie and Duncan down from the party. Curry's finding out that Duncan was formerly married to his publisher, down to them kissing, down to them being together, even though Curry knows that Duncan is about to leave, and Duncan down to him asking her, okay, so what's next? And her giving her honest answer, and it seems like it does not come from a place of hurt.
I think that I like it. I will say that for me, I love this is what healthy divorced people or healthy people who are no
Mm-hmm.
longer together look like.
Yes.
There doesn't need to be any animosity, and we don't know the backstory, right? But still, it takes so much energy to hold on to negativity. Like you literally,
Yes.
what's that saying? It's like you're poisoning yourself. You think you're poisoning somebody else, but you're really poisoning yourself. That's
Yeah.
absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I I love the conversation that they have, the ending when he's acknowledging her outside of just
Mm-hmm.
as a writer, but just
Yeah.
overall, and then she decides to acknowledge him as well. I will say I would have liked the roles to be reversed in terms of like I would have liked him to come back upstairs instead of her running down to
Him
him.
downstairs. Yeah.
But so semantics. However, um them having that moment together, and I think there is a different chemistry that was there because they're both writers, because they have
Yep.
these imaginations and that sort of thing. But she, even the publisher when they were at the party said like, I'll see you in the UK next week, right? So we know that it's
Mm-hmm.
coming soon where he's not going to be there.
Yeah.
But I think that it's more like being present. This is the moment. The moment is here. I'm gonna take the time to like explore this moment, and I'm okay with whatever happens after. And so I think that I like the way that they did that. And I love his interest in her book. I love that even
Yes.
after the sex, he was like, so tell me what's going to happen to the woman? Like, what is like, have you
Mm-hmm.
decided on the ending? And I love that banter because, like she said, he sees me as smart first, sexy secondary. Other people have
Yes.
seen her
Mm-hmm.
sexy first, cute first, but they don't see her as smart or intelligent. And I love that for her because I think that is a boost in confidence when somebody sees you more than just your physicality. So I did love how this scene played out between the two of them.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what it looks like when two adults decide to take it to the next level. This is what it looks like. Especially
Mm-hmm.
adults over 40 and over 50. Because at that point, baby, look here, we ain't got time to lie to each other. We know what this was. I didn't hop in bed with you thinking it was going to be more. And I love the point that that's definitely not what Curry thought. And that's definitely not what Duncan thought, that this was going to be more. Both of them
Right.
are very mature and fully understanding what this is. We don't get to see that too often on television. I know y'all try to correct me when I said that in the past about other things, but here we don't get to see it too often of two older folks understanding what it means, what sex as a one night stand could possibly mean, and it
Mm-hmm.
not be the Brady situation with Maya.
Right.
Once you're older, we could do this, and we're like, look, that I don't lose no respect for you.
Yep.
On the Love Below album with Andre 3000 and Outkast. I know for some of y'all that is an ancient album, but Andre does an intro when a woman sleeps with him on the first date, and he was like, "Man, that's cool. She knew what she wanted, and that's all
Mm-hmm.
this is here. Is both of them understood what they wanted, and it's no regrets into what they did.
Yeah.
And the point that you showed that, and you still see the respect is still there between them two, as you pointed out, down to uh Duncan rolling over and say, please don't kill this woman off. This is an
Right.
amazing character. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't kill her. Like, this is I need to know what happens next with her. And him still not putting a correlation that this character is actually Carrie,
Right. Yeah.
that she's writing. Like, that is an amazing thing. And I just loved so many elements of this episode between Duncan and Carrie. And the way they close it out here, with Curry understanding he's about to go back to the UK and nothing is made a big deal of it. That's
Right.
what you needed here. But,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? And my co-host Maya, what are your final thoughts on episode 10 of And Just Like That?
Ooh, we got baby mama drama incoming. We got a very angry daddy. We got a wife that got to stick up for her husband because mama monster-in-law is acting crazy.
Yes.
Charlotte, I'm so happy she's finally getting able to release.
Mhm.
Um, Miranda is she a little wonky, but she's good for now.
Yeah.
Um, Seema, oh man, I hope she becomes a plant mom. And I can't wait to see what that office looks like. And yeah, Carrie, I'm excited for her new adventure because she's had quite a few adventures this season already. With the different changes that she's had to withstand. So I look forward to seeing. This was a good episode. I think that there could have been, like I said, there were some things that felt a little wonky and a little off to me.
Mhm.
But for the most part, overall, these last three episodes, they've done a better job at building up the storyline. So I'm excited to see what the next couple of episodes look like for sure.
Yeah.
And really what the
Eh,
season finale is going to be because I want to know how
mm,
these storylines play out.
yes. As we're getting close to the end of this season here, this series is now in a stride of good content, good shows.
Hmm.
I mean, it was a struggle early on. Possibly now we're seeing why it was. Is to fully lay out exactly the storyline we were going with this season. But this is just another winner of an episode to tune into and to
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoy. Whether it be Carrie, Seema, Miranda, Charlotte, Lisa, all of them show, I think, strong women from different perspectives.
Right.
And that's
Yeah,
something
I agree.
again that is very needed in the marketplace that we are in now, where you don't see the typical woman falling apart because everything's not going her way. We didn't see Charlotte fall apart when she couldn't get the time that she needed. She just went to her friend's
Hmm.
apartment and said, "Hey, I just need a break." We didn't see
Hmm.
Carrie break apart between the situation between her and Duncan. Definitely didn't see Seema break apart. She's as honest as humanly possible. And down to Lisa trying to stick up for Herbert, even though he's not receptive to it. But we don't see her break down because of it. That's what
Right.
you need to see. So those are amazing elements that we get in episode 10. But audience, let us know what you think. First, let us know what you think about Seema, Adam, and the plant mother and how that's going to
Hmm.
work moving forward. Let us know what you think about Carrie and Duncan and the future that Carrie can look forward to now that we know that Duncan is leaving. And what do you think about Miranda, Steve, and Brady and how and Maya at this point and how this is
Baby
going to
mama.
work itself out. But you can catch us, especially this week. I know I said this last week, but this week you catch us after the episode airs on HBO Max. Like, comment, subscribe. We will be here for the final two episodes that are coming up. But this has been another Big Gold Belt review recap of the hit HBO Max show. And just like that, peace, people.
Peace.